Well, the first thing I want to say is...
The great old ones is coming back, and we the great old ones.
Well, the first thing I want to say is...
The great old ones is coming back, and we the great old ones. Magic, magic.
Over 100 million people worldwide practice Buddhism.
He said, yeah, you must be one of them fallen angels, and I said, correct. We are the fallen angels.
Some might call
You
it.
read black magic, but surely no civilized person believes in such a thing.
Magic.
Sorcery and witchcraft.
Demons.
The taboo.
The taboo.
The taboos.
We talking about we tapping into ourselves. Magic.
We are the ones that got trapped down here in the physical and became mindless slaves for a remnant of gods who once was our children.
Damn right we are the gods in heaven.
Have you ever seen yourself through the eyes of someone else that you have become?
Cause ain't none of them niggas talking about none of this magic.
These entities are ancestral.
Cause ain't none of them niggas talking about none of this magic.
Only an insider knows the secrets and mysteries.
How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go?
If you want to plumb the secrets of voodoo, you'll have to wait for the end of the world.
What is reality? The real trick to life is not to be in the know, but be in the mystery.
Is everyone a mystery?
What's happening within us will create what's happening outside of us.
Magic.
Unending possibility.
In Haiti, the Caribbean, and New Orleans, they practice Buddha.
Black magic.
We're going to pour libations to none other than our own power.
Magic.
So that it doesn't affect magic. Dead ancestors.
Cause ain't shit fucking with this dark side, nigga.
Buddha practitioners. Altars.
The witchcraft of the African Congo.
Black
Magic.
Ceremonies.
Oh, now don't tell me you believe all that mumbo-jumbo. Oh, now don't tell me you believe all that mumbo-jumbo.
I've been here long enough never to dismiss anything as mumbo-jumbo.
Magic.
I read Dr. Quantum comics. Everybody thinks it's just kid stuff, but I know it's real. That's how I do my magic on the court.
You think you don't fight some white man with some goddamn gun, nigga? Is you fucking crazy? Fuck it! You think you don't fight a white man with a goddamn gun? Nigga, is you crazy? Only way you can fuck that cracker up is on this shit. Dark side, nigga. Dark side. Dark side.
I just want to give thanks again for everybody coming out for the third and final part of the series. Today we're dealing with indigenous people rising through ritual. As we know, Bobby's kind of opened up a few gateways over the last few days. So we're here again just to give a shout out to yourselves and to the man himself, Bobby Hemmitt.
All right. I want to thank Brother Darren for bringing me. Sister Rosanna, Brother Israel is the MC. And you know, you always got the brother has a couple of DVDs out, so you need to support the people who's in your area bringing this particular information. You know, we're going to take it back across the water, but they say a king is without honor in his own home, and too often, you know, we don't support our own people because we see them every day. It's just like there's a guy in Detroit, Michigan, and all. He does. He's a martial artist, and he does a lot of stuff with magical mushrooms, a lot of comedic information and all. But they had a major conferences in Detroit, melanin conferences, and they never would invite the brother. You see, and I think they invited him one time, and then invited him again. So we good for that, you know, sending way out for people. But then again, on the other hand, I'm glad to see brothers and brothers rising up in the UK and every place else. You know, so I'm glad you came out. You know, I'm glad you came out tonight. And what we're gonna do is, because we how many new faces in the crowd? It wasn't here the last couple of days. Raise your hands. Okay, cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do part refresher, lecture, and the whole ritual. Now we got a whole lot of rituals and a whole lot of things to do that can help you. And that's what we got to get back in as is indigenous people. Is get back into our ritual and can't be spooked out over the last couple of 100 years of religion that tells you that this is wrong. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get into all of that. And it's interesting because I went to do a lecture on Black History Month in the February of, because it's February over in the States. February of 2007. I was invited to go to Black History Month to this college. When I got there, the whole college was white by two, and it was like 2 classrooms I did one day and I did the other day. It was only like 2 black people in each class. But it was strange because all of the white people in the school was hip hoppers. I mean, the mannerisms and all the stuff, you know, that hip hop is taking over the world. And so after the class we went to see a voodoo vocal master at another college, and went there and went to his house, got to sipping on some stuff, and and he had all these altars, and I ended up missing the plane. Okay, so he sent some other people out to get me because I would have to catch the plane the next day, the next morning. And I don't know if it is here. If you ever miss the plane, there's this policy. If you miss the plane, and you know you missed the plane, go to the airport and they'll put you on the next flight for free. If you call in, they'll charge you money. I'm quite sure it's the same policy. But anyway, I had to go. He sent one guy from Yemen and another guy from Kurdistan, which is the Kurds in Iraq. And they came and picked me up. And they was telling us these stories on how although Islam is the fundamental religion, their family always kept their rituals for thousands of years up under Islam. So it would be like this. You know, the Islam is the predominant religion. They say no ideology, no idolatry, no ritual. So this thing became more of a custom of a family, just like you would go and prepare meals. And you would go and it would become a family tradition. So just like you say, well, let's eat this macaroni, it's a family tradition. The family tradition became these rituals up under a dominant, oppressive force of religion. You see what I'm saying? So in so many words, they never got rid of their rituals of the old times, the ancient Kushite Arabia, the Arabia of Muhammad's father. They never forgot those rituals. They just went underground and became tradition of the family. You see what I'm saying? But they never got rid of them. But it was just interesting, one thing, and I think we can learn from people in other cultures. They came to pick me up because he said, I'm sending these 2 Arab brothers, the Kurd and the Yemenite. And they come pick you up. So what happened was, I'm going to let you do the MC in a minute, but I just want to say this. So what happened was, because you got on the red, so you coming with the power, we're going to need that energy. So what happened was, they pulled up to get some gas. So I went into the little gas station store and was getting ready to buy something. The brother said, let me get that for you, brother. And so I said, well, okay. I said, well, I got the money. He said, no, let me get it. So he got it and he bought it. And then we went back to the professor, and he said, well, you're going to have to stay at my house. He said, I know Ogun blocked you from leaving out, from flying out, because there was some work, so there's something that had to be done. So anyway, he said, well, we're going to go by there because we ate at an Ethiopian restaurant earlier that day. He said, well, what's open eyes? We got a real good Chinese restaurant, because it's late. He said, but this is one of the better ones. We'll go there. So we went there and started eating. So I got up from the table and went to go pay for another drink, a ginger beer and something else that they had back, some kind of pie or something. They had some kind of cookie. And the other guy from Yemen, because the one who bought the food bought me the drink or something at the gas station. He had to go home or something. So the other guy from Yemen came up, and he said, tell me you didn't pay for that. So I said, what's the big deal? He said, please tell me you didn't pay for that. And so the other brother, the professor, pulled me to the side. He said, it's tradition in their custom that the youngest person buys everything. He said that's tradition in their culture. He said so it's kind of disrespectful if you don't let him buy whatever. He's gonna pay for the whole meal because he was the youngest of the crowd. And in so many words, I said, well, man, I said, shoot, I wish we had something like that in our community. And so in so many words, it still shows some form of extended family that we have gotten out of. You see what I'm saying? We have become so selfish till there's very few people that we help. And I'm a complete stranger, but then again, on the other hand, I'm saying maybe these are some customs that we used to have as black people, whereas everybody took care of everybody. In this particular case, the custom was, you the youngest, you pay. And it was such a custom to he was actually getting offended, but I said, no, brother, I haven't paid for it yet. You're welcome to pay for it. So it's just interesting how that happened. But but the thing that really surprised me is on how they still got all this magic and all these rituals right in Arabia, Yemen, Iraq, but it's just a family tradition which makes it underground. Which leads me to one other story is, I got a friend named Darrell Rice, and I call him Darrell by mistake sometimes, so because I was so used to calling Darrell, and his name is Darren. So, but he reminds me of Darrell Rice. So what happened was this particular brother, his family, you know, they holy rollers, they holy sanctified, and all of this. But every time he come home, they want a ritual to help them with something. You see what I'm saying? And he was like, I'm not going to give them no more rituals, man, because they don't want to hear none of this knowledge. You know, it's all about Jesus or what have you, but they want a ritual. I say, well, maybe that's their subconscious mind or the genetic memory bank reminding them that this is something that they used to have to do back in the day. You know, it's about like they say the Catholic, the people in Haiti, in the daytime, they're Catholic, so they can get all the stuff the church can get. And at night, they into the voodoo. And the Catholic is talking against the voodoo. They don't pay them no bit of attention. They already know that they're not going to abandon their tradition. So in the daytime, they're Catholic, and they get whatever the church, all the hands on. And at night, they go down and get down with their ritual. And that's the thing what we have to do. You have to accept your energy again and your ritual, and don't be scared of it. Now, I got one last thing that I want to say before we hand it over. My brother went down to see some people. They call them the Gumi people. Because there was the Gumi people in the southern part of South Carolina, which is the Gullah part of South Carolina, which is the only language that's left behind in America, is the Gullah language. It comes from either Angola, they said that Asa Hill said, there's several other places, but I also know the Congo is mixed up in that. But he went down to get a reading from these people. And from these people, they call them the Gumi people because they're patterned after Oshun Gumi. And he got this reading, this ritual, and he was walking out the door, and he saw this mysterious castle-like building. He said, oh my God, that's a mysterious-looking building. He said, I haven't seen anything like that in South Carolina. He said, what is it? And the people told him, said, look, when the Africans got out of slavery, they said they had Igbo, Hausa, maybe some Dogon, some Yoruba, some Akan. They just had several different nations that had preserved their way of worship. And so what they would do is they built this one building, and how it is in America, if you're in school, you have the homeroom at first for a few minutes, and then the bell rings and you go to your different classes or whatever you're studying. So they had this one building where they'd have this opening ceremony. It's almost like homeroom. And they have an opening ceremony, and then after a certain point in the ceremony, they would break, and the different people, different traditions, Yoruba, Akan, this and that, would go to that particular side of the church or that particular area of this particular building and do their ceremony, their worship, and then they would meet back up and have a general benediction and a general ceremony and benediction. So they said that the white man came in and saw this thing and said, oh no. And he said he built them a Christian church across the street, and the other building was abandoned, and it was almost like it wiped out a whole generations after that because they all became Christians. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to say, if we don't think it's valuable, that white boy knew when he saw that magnificent thing that was going on that he had to stop that. It's just like integration. The best way to keep you in a hole is to get down in that hole with you, you see. So, with no further ado, we're going to bring on the master of ceremony. You got to deal.
What are you going to say something? Okay.
You got for Brother Israel still, man.
Okay, man.
All right.
First and foremost, being that today is the last day, could you please give a warm round of applause for Ancient Future and Muata Books for making this happen. Also, another round of applause for Bobby Hemmitt as well, because he's been working.
Yes.
As you all know, today is the last day, Indigenous people rising through ritual. Today's the real, the knockout blow. So, like I was saying yesterday, you know, make sure you take these practices and start applying them to your life, to your everyday life. You understand? Bobby's just explained it based on the people who gave you religion. They're using the voodoo behind closed doors. I'm from a tribe of the Yoruba back in Nigeria, and when I go there, I'm initiated. I'm even, in the next couple of years, want to arrange a tour there, where I will take you to certain places, because people are still not grasping how this magic thing, whether it's real or not. And I'll take you to certain places, and I'm telling you, it's a different world. Things that you could only dream of, that Hollywood show you and all that, I'm telling you, I've seen it for real. Shape-shifting, the whole works. I know brothers that are initiated into certain orders, and based on their levels of degree in the order, the priesthood that they initiated into. I went to a house in Nigeria, in Ife. 2 priests were going through their initiation. They had to lock them in a room. Head priest said to them, I'm coming back in 5 minutes. Gave them a bottle each, empty bottle, and said, it better be full with water by the time I come back. That's alchemy. He used to give them a number of tarts. Sometimes he would come back, he'd say, he wants granite oil. He wants palm oil in there. Whatever the case. When they reach a certain level, he'd come back, he said, when you come back, I want to see a tiger or a lion in this room. That's real deal science. They were waking up priests. I was in a shrine in Ife. They were waking up priests 1 o'clock midnight. They don't give them no light. These people have to enter a forest as thick as you can, the thickest jungle you can ever picture. And they'd have to pick out certain leaves that could heal people in different aspects. They might have to pick out 100 different leaves. And I was talking to the priest the next day, and he said, you know, he was real happy that, you know, he passed his, you know, like his exam. And I was like, well, how did you know which leaves to pick? And he said, well, the trees. You got to listen to the trees. The trees tell me, the ants, all the insects within the forest tell me which ones to pick. So real deal science. When they talk about shape-shifting, you go to Nigeria when they're doing their festivals, the Yoruba festivals, I've seen people pouring water in baskets and stuff like that, and the water don't leak out. Real deal science. So my mother and father, which is something I can't understand today, they're locked down in this Christianity thing. I mean, my mom's made the transition to the ancestral realm now, but when she was alive, she was in the church. Father's in the church. My father, he's in London right now. I can take you to where he's staying. He's staying at one of my sisters, and he will testify for you. He rolls with his shit. He's in the church, but he's got his voodoo. I'm talking, he stops it rain, when you don't use umbrella, nothing. It's forbidden for him to use an umbrella. I don't care how heavy it's raining out there, and when he steps out, I guarantee you, not a speck of water will not touch him. Wherever he stays, it's dry. That's the kind of voodoo stuff, you understand? So I still can't understand why he's in the church on the other hand, but on the other hand, when shit hits the fan, he's running to the voodoo priest. You understand? So these are the kind of things that, all of these abilities, you have them inside of you. You understand? Okay, fair enough, you may need a bit of guidance as for someone to show you how it's done, which is why we're here today. Mr. Bobby's going to be showing you rituals to do.
Take your time, man.
He's going to be, well, we got until 10 o'clock tonight, so that's cool. He's going to be showing you rituals, certain magical rituals that you can practice, blessing the home and stuff. These are basic stuff. You understand? I personally, no disrespect. It's like the rituals on that level now. It's like they bore me now. I want to be moving on to disappearing. When I go back to the priest back in Nigeria, I'm telling her, don't be giving no hogwash business. I want the real stuff. You understand? But, you know, they know that it's a gradual process. Every time I have to go through a certain process of learning, and it's like, okay, now you're eligible, hold this. You understand? And they give you give me bits and pieces, which I have. You understand? So a lot of this stuff, you'd be amazed, in the ancient world was real basic stuff. You understand? Things that you classify as serious voodoo, I can show you 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, they just look at it, they laugh at you, and say, what's that? You understand? Shootouts, and nobody dropping. You understand? These are the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You understand? I have stuff in my house right now that when I pull it, you can bring your best weapon. And I guarantee you, see, this is in the movie The Matrix. If you remember in the first Matrix, where Morpheus was with Neo, and he was walking him, and he looked at the woman in the red dress. Everybody remember that part? And there was a specific incident when he turned around and Morpheus was talking to him, and Neo said to him, "What are you trying to tell me, that I can dodge bullets?" And Morpheus said, "No. When the time comes, you won't need to." And that's the kind of voodoo I'm talking about. That's real ritual. Where I'm talking like people that I can walk in a crossfire and you keep firing, because I ain't dropping. And that's how sure I am of this stuff. You understand? So it's real deal science. And I know Mr. Bobby's, he knows. He knows his stuff. That's why when I was watching the DVDs, all the information, there was only certain people that I was like, that's my shit. Occult is right up my alleyway, man. The dark side. You understand? That's me. You understand? My queen will testify I'm here. I'm straight dark side. You understand? I want people to fuck with me sometimes. So I got armory that I want to test. It's just sitting there on the altar at home and it ain't doing nothing. And I want to test it out. So I'm hoping someone can come and say, you know, who are you looking at? I said, yeah. Oh, yes. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You understand? Because when the European has his weaponry and his guns, and they're bringing out new guns, they can't wait to get into certain places where they can test it out. Oh, new gun, new Desert Eagle, and they want to go to certain places where they want to test out their armory. And I understand why they would feel like that. Because when priests back home in Nigeria give me certain things, I'm like, whoa, yeah, really? I can fuck up a nigga with this? No problem. So I'm waiting for some people to, but it never comes my way. I go peacefully, I come home peacefully, no one fucks with me. I'm like, and I've got the shit. You understand? So that's the way it works. But at least I know that it's there. You understand? You need things like this in your life. Whether it be talismans, amulets, things of protection. You understand? Because there's a war out there and it's not fought on a physical level. Forget it. It is not. It's fought on a metaphysical level and it manifests in the physical. So what you see is the result. You understand? The cause of it has already taken place in the metaphysical plane. You understand? And you see the end and you think that you're going to try and solve it by running around and doing marchings and appealing and protesting to the government and all that lot. And they just look at you and, you know, that's why you go to them. You want to march and you got to go to them to get permission. I don't see the sense in it. I've never seen the sense in it. You understand? I've never seen the sense in it. Just the other day we were in down the radio station and the brother was telling me about somebody shot his brother and then he was saying to me, if someone shot your brother, what would you do? And he was expecting me to say, yeah, I'll go and get my gun and shoot. No, I'll go to the altar. I know exactly where to go because I'm not dealing with you. You know what I'm saying? By the time you get hit left and right, you don't even know where it's coming from. You understand? So I won't even be a suspect. You understand? So this is the stuff I'm talking about. You've got to really get into this magic. You understand? And it's based on thoughts. You project it. A lot of this stuff is just tools and instruments that help you amplify that. You understand? And that's what our ancient ancestors were dealing with. All these imageries and stuff and symbols were based on geometric shapes that help amplify thoughts. You understand what I'm trying to say? So you put the initial intent in there, and then when it hits home, trust me, you definitely see the results. You understand? So without further ado, I'm not going to hold up your time. I'm going to bring in the master occultist. Mr. Bobby Hemmitt, man.
All right. Now y'all give y'all own a black hand. try to get him in the states that half British, half Nigerian accent will go over good. Over there, you know what I'm saying? It's all about showmanship and show business. You see. You know. So it'll authenticate things. See, people from far away to come tell them things. You see what I'm saying? And so that will work. We're going to get into a lot of rituals today, and I want you to give a black hand to my queen. Yeah. So as a result, you know, she's going to be given a lot of magic stuff. I barely do little magic now, for the simple fact I don't have to, because she does all that stuff, you see. All types of things. So we talk about to the basic household information, to great information with whether you can do just about anything. And it's interesting because I got a Nigerian friend down in Atlanta, and he was telling me, Obatawale is his name, and he was telling me how they got some Africans that can take an egg and throw at your house and burn your house down. Burn your house down with an egg. And I was on the train one day, the subway one day, and I was telling some people about, you know, the magic and different things like that. And one guy said, well, so roots work, 'cause that's real big in South Carolina and Georgia. We call it roots. And I'm from that root working area, and my family was probably upper mobile. We was like high middle class, so a lot of times we got roots worked on us, and different things like that. But I'm from an area where we had a neighbor that was what they call a root man, and when he died, all kind of lizards and snakes and snails and everything came out of him. You see what I'm saying? Now that might sound gross and grotesque, but it's trying to show you magical dimensions, you see, on how real this stuff is. And this I was telling some people on the train, and the guy said, so roots is real? I said, yeah. And here goes again. He said, my father, you know, he didn't say much. He's a family man. He didn't say much, a good Christian. He said, but every time we would go somewhere, he would always have this black bag that he would put in the trunk of the car. He never would tell us what it was. And so in so many words, this was a guy on the train saying that no matter where we caught our, what later thing, religion or later tradition we caught ourselves into, or we found ourselves into, some people still kept the ancient magic, and you can do both. And it was very, and so the guy was telling me about this, and then another Nigerian brother on the train said, hey, you better listen to that guy, that is real. And so he said that they got a group of Africans on the continent that they don't let off the continent. They can't get through, no visa, they can't get nothing. He said because every day at 12 o'clock they could walk into a bank and rob the bank blind, and nobody will ever see them. And he said they don't even let these you know. So so what happened was as a result, what it is based on the influx of Islam, the influx of Christianity and different things, where it used to be a common ground that people did magic in the ancient world, these things started becoming close-knit and relegated to certain families. So where it used to be the whole communities of doing this, in Africa it started becoming certain families would do these things. And certain families. And so in a way that is the way, in a way it's good because they kept the tradition alive, but on the other hand, they could pinpoint those families and say you can't leave the continent, you see. Now I was in New Jersey. Brother came up and handed me $100 bill. Brother from Nigeria. He said when he was leaving to go to college, his mother and them gave him a ritual. And they told him, you do this ritual and you'll pass every test known to man. And him being the younger generation, he don't want to hear that because he's all westernized. and he's got into the okie doke and got duped. This is the guy was telling me in Trenton, New Jersey. He got duped. He said, I went and studied in school, went and got my undergrad, went and got my master's, and went and got my PhD, and I worked like a dog and became almost mentally ill with all the studying I had to do. He said, and I never thought about that ritual my family gave me. He said, about 10 years after he graduated, got his PhD, years later, about 10 years after he got his PhD, he said another Nigerian knocked on his door and said, hey, that ritual your parents gave you about 17 years ago, I need it. He said, okay, here, take it. Okay, here, take it. He said this guy here was partying, going on vacations, never studying, and passing all the tests, made the dean's list and all of that. He said, now look at that, I almost killed myself because I didn't believe what my parents said, and now they got this young guy 17 years later having a ball and doing nothing. You see what I'm saying? It's just interesting on how certain things can happen. So we all have, if we choose to not ignore or just think back in our lives, some of the people, you will know that somebody in your family was always doing certain things. You know, it's just like one time I, because we were scientists, one time I had an abscess in the tooth. I had to go down to I was a student, so I didn't have no money. I had to go down to the free clinic and stand in line all day, you know, and all just to get some antibiotics and all that, and got home, and you can't drink milk for a week, you can't do nothing, and you can't eat this for a week, so the antibiotics taken. When I got home that night, one girl said, well, I wish you would have called me. All you had to do, my grandmama, all you got to do with an abscess is to take lemon extract and put on it, and it takes it down in a few minutes. You see, but these are remedies and stuff. Now you say, well, how does somebody know about lemon extract? But these are remedies that our people used to channel from the ethers and tell people what to do. And different things. So the point I'm trying to make here is we all have these things in our families and stuff that we ignore. And we have to get back to, and all, because it's kind of taboo. Somebody has convinced us that it's taboo to do magic. You see what I'm saying? Taboo to do magic. So what I want to do right now is I want to recap a couple of things and show you a couple of overlays that I didn't get to show on the last portion of the lectures, the last 2 days. But I think this one is very important. Now let's see if we can cut off the lights.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
See?
You got one main switch?
Darren, can you? Is it light?
Is there a light? Okay. Can everybody see that? We can try to get it as, of course, we got the sunlight, so there's only so much we can do. But let me try to explain what's going on and where the actual magic is coming from. When we're talking about magic now, it's no spookism in this. It's actual science. The magic is ultimately coming from inside of you. And the only thing you are doing is giving a series of rituals or a series of channels and connections to draw that out, which is on the inside of you. So they say that the kingdom is within. And this is an excellent picture of a chakra, basic chakra, which is 7 major African deities. The Orishas, there's more than that. There's 7 major ones. There's 7 chakras. There's 7 seals. And the 7s go on and on by the hundreds. And Jeremiah's Ancient Egypt Light of the World, in the index, the whole Egyptian mythology, Christian mythology, or what have you, the 7s is all through it. But ultimately, 7s go back down to 7 wheels of light, which is the chakras. And what this is actually showing here is, this is a chakra. And this is a whole world going on the inside of a chakra, on the inside of your body. Get the movie Osmosis Jones, with Bill Murray. It's a whole movie that takes place inside of his body. And they're going through turmoil in the inner world because he eats so much bad food. You see what I'm saying? So, to give you a simulation on what's going on the inside, it is within. Let me give you another example. Y'all all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah.
So that the back can't see the
Okay.
video. Is it possible to put it up on something?
Okay.
They can't see it.
Oh.
Nah, I don't know.
That can't go up. Can't stand on that.
Let's see if we can go back some.
Okay. All right.
Let's see if we can go back some. Yeah. Okay. They got that little one, so let's just go back. That's better. Okay, now let's just push this up. Yeah. Let's see how far. There we go. Let's see now. Can they see better now? That's better? Okay, yeah, that makes it even darker too. So there's a whole world that's going on the inside of us. Now, I want to show you this picture. Because a lot of you remember this, because 40 years ago in the United States, 40 years ago, I want to show you this picture, but while I'm looking for that picture, I'm going to put this up. This is a book that you need to get. This is a book called The Dreamer's Book of the Dead. The Dreamer's Book of the Dead. And what this is this white guy that was studying, I think, W.B. Yeats or somebody, and some type of entity came through, and he called himself, but it was a Moorish figure. It was Africanus, but it wasn't the French, the Roman Africanus that we know that Africa was named after. But then again, that's debatable too, because one of our masters, C. Freeman L., found Africa in the Book of the Dead. In the Book of the Dead. So, you know, but this is a book called The Dreamer's Book of the Dead by Robert Moss. And what it was, this African figure, dark Moorish figure, came through and gave him the contents of this book. And the book is in print now. It's only been out a couple of years, in the 2000s. And gave him the content of this book and said, and this book is designed for you to get in touch with your family members who made the transition. And what makes it more authentic is that this particular book was given to this white guy by an African, or he called a dark Moorish figure called Africanus. Not the Africanus, the Roman general, but Africanus or Moor. They gave him the contents, and it's supposed to, you're supposed to read the book and study the book, and you'll be able to get in touch with loved ones. So this is an excellent book. It's called The Dreamer's Book of the Dead by Robert Moss. And it's interesting because the guy handed me the book at a lecture in New York City that I had done, and 4 days later my mother made the transition. But it's eerie because the people was like, oh man, I can't believe this, because for some reason I just felt compelled to go into the history of my mother's life in the lecture. And it was almost like I eulogized her 4 days before she died. And she didn't die, she just sat on the couch one day and just burnt up in flames and ascended in flames and burnt down the house. That's called spontaneous human combustion. And a lot of Europeans go through it when the energy is too powerful. But then again, it's also a form of ascension to the gods and goddesses. And then when we ascend, we take the whole house with us. And that's what happened to her. Now this is interesting here because I want to show you this. 40 years ago, this happened at the 1968 Olympics. And anybody remember this famous picture? Yeah. Well, let me show you on the temple walls where that comes from. This is the original one of the Black Power symbol called the souls of P and death. I try to put it up as high as I can. So the souls of P and death. This is on the temple walls of Karnak. Pt.1 is the real name for it, as Dr. Asa Hilliard, who just made the transition last year. Anybody heard of Dr. Asa Hilliard? Yeah. Yes. And as a result, he made the transition, but guess who brought his body back to the States? Barack Obama. you know, Barack Obama. And that was a ritual. I'll go into that, what was set up when he did that. And this is the reason why he could beat Hillary Clinton. It's some maneuver stuff that happened. But anyway, at the Temple of Karnak, this is the original Black Power symbol. Now to show you that this is a rendering, a drawing, but on one of the papyrus on the Robert Moss Dreamer's Book of the Dead, here's a real papyrus at the top with the same thing. In this case, it's got Heru, Horus, the Christ, Anubis, another form of the Christ, and the Pharaoh in the middle, which is another form of the Christ. You see. But here's the same thing. Now, what does this all mean? Does this justify going out and putting you on your black leather jacket and your berets and going out with machine guns of the 1960 Black Power? What does it mean? What does it mean? Well, first of all, let me break this down. A panther that has panther skins, which is gold type skin, yellowish gold type skin and little black dots, is panther skin. And the Egyptian priests used to wear those panther skins. See if I can find one. I'll call it the kunsu. If I can find it. The Egyptian priests used to wear those panther skins, but it represents the yellow and the gold, which the little dots represents the black dot, and the gold part represents the sun, or the illumination of the black dot, which is talking about the pineal gland and the crown chakra. But they have another panther called the Black Panther, and it has spots too, but you can't see the spots because of a condition called melanism. So the Black Panther is black, and the condition is called melanism. You see what I'm saying? It's not an abnormal condition. It's just that it's just ironic that people would choose the Black Panther, you see, as a form of a revolutionary symbol, when ultimately the Egyptian priests used to wear it to symbolize melanin. Symbolize melanin. Now, going into what I mean here, does this mean we're supposed to be revolutionaries in that sense? Only if you're trying to defend yourself. Well, I would suggest if you're trying to defend yourself, you need to do anything to get that cracker behind off your behind. In this particular case, any brother behind off your behind. You see what I'm saying? That's just defense. That's the laws of preservation. But the real mystery between of this is this represents a form of melanin and a form of black power that goes on inside of your body. So that's the real mystery of it. Remember I was saying the last couple of days that Farrakhan said in 1985, if our slaves went to war with the ruling class, the slaves would win. And I thought that was ridiculous, but they got all this firepower. But then I said that they had a Sanskrit text that the Indian government was given money to study the vital forces in the body called the Kundalini and the third eye, and they came up with the actual knowledge that there are devices in the body that will come online and destroy everything if threatened by extinction or threatened by genocide. So most of the ruling class has to go secretly and conspire against you. But they will never announce the day of battle. So you don't have to worry about the race war jumping off. They're too clever for that, because they do more damage by being covert than overt.
Okay.
Okay.
We're good to go. Yeah.
Okay, good. So now, they talk about these particular occult forces, and occult means hidden inside of the body. So we're dealing with ultra extra dimensions of melanin. And ultimately, that's what magic is. Magic is only synthesizing the melanin or the occult power inside of you and bringing it through to the physical world. So you can manipulate these energies to do what you want and to maneuver into the physical world. This is something that's coming from inside of you. You understand? So the whole time you were all afraid of these entities that you don't want to deal with, who would ever know that they were on the inside of your body? And this is what I'm trying to convey here as a precursor to magic, to say that all this stuff is going on the inside of us. Y'all, you understand? Going on the inside of us, you see. Now, I just want to go through a few things. This is the ultimate melanin goddess. I got some pictures. I got some black and white pictures of her, which is very powerful. This is the goddess Seshet. There's the god Tahuti. Later on would be the whole mystery of Moses is nothing but the mysteries of Tahuti. There's the staff of Tahuti. There's the staff of Moses. There's the magic of Moses. There's the magic of Tahuti. Moses is one that comes before the Christ. Tahuti is one that comes before Horus and has to rescue Horus from a scorpion bite. And when Horus' eye is torn out by Set, Tahuti is the one that gives him his sight back. So what does that mean? Your eye, you are blind, but you're given sight back by this magical entity. Well, Tahuti is none other than melanin itself, and the sight that is given back to Horus is the third eye, and the whole concept of melanin and the kundalini energy and melanin in the third eye rising from the base of the spine all the way up to the upper room or the pearly gates. You see, so that's what they're talking about when they say giving somebody their sight back. The visionary sight or the sight of Christ. Now, but Tahuti, or Thoth, is Thoth, that's where the word thought comes from. Or Hermes in the Greek. Or Hermes in the Greek, or I think it's Iberus in Islam, as also as El Qada, the green one, and Merlin in the Grail mythology, which you are all a part of. We'll deal a little more with that in a few minutes because that's the whole Camelot, the rising of the Camelot, the new lot of Cam. Well, Cam means black land and black people. So if the queen and all of them are looking for the new rise of Camelot, then they got to be talking about black people, and they got to be talking about you because you're the ones that's here. You see what I'm saying? So they got to be talking about you. And as I can see, you have multiplied amazingly because I'm riding around and I can't see no different than here in New York City or Harlem. It's black people everywhere. But like I said, in the United States, you would not know it. We think there's 3 or 4 of you over here amongst white people. If God is my witness. They make sure they never show you. And I knew of neighborhoods and all, and I knew there was I said, well, you know, there's a couple of thousand of them over there. You know, that's being sensible to know based on, and that's me thinking outside of what's actually given to me in the media. Because the media is only like 2 or 3 of you all. You see what I'm saying? So it's amazing how they would sequester you and you're non-existent in the United States. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't want to show your power. And that's the British government that's got something to do with that too. Because, and the reason why I say that now, we now get BBC America and we get BBC News on the regular public broadcasting station, and they still don't show you. That's by design. Why? Because it's any type of thing but what your oppressor will do. The oppressor will never want to show allies around the world. Now we find out there's black subculture groups throughout Europe. But you would never know it. You see? So that's one of the things they never show allies. We got a History Channel and History International Channel, and African history is non-existent. And the channel is now, has been out for 10 years now. And I think I've seen 2 African shows. One of them was with animals. See what I'm saying? So that's by design. That's the politics of keeping the people oppressed. Now the other politics of keeping the people oppressed is to make sure that the Caribbeans, the African Americans, the Eritreans, the Ethiopians, and different parts of the African diaspora never come together. So they pit us against each other. That's why I got to come all the way to England to speak to the Caribbean people. It's not that the Caribbean people are messed up in the United States. It's just that we don't dwindle outside of our given neighborhoods. So the Ethiopians stick to themselves. The Caribbeans stick to themselves. You see what I'm saying? African Americans stick to each other because I don't even think we got no damn unity at all now. Shit. It's like individualism, survival of the fittest, but other than the conscious people. But my point here is that is a tool of the division. You see, it is a tool of division. You see, and so that's one thing that's one trick they can always deal with, is to never have an ally. You never ally with Africa. You never ally with any indigenous people around the earth. You see what I'm saying? Any indigenous people around the earth. So this is how things happen. You see, and they talking about the European Union. You see what I'm saying? Every time they get in a family fight and get a skirmish going on, where they get some European that's not getting down with the rest of them, they go to war just to get that person in check, because they know the importance of a racial union. You see what I'm saying? Now, going back to Hootie is the god of melanin. He's the god of magic. He's the god of writing. He's the god of art. He's the god of science. But he is whispering all his knowledge in his ear through this woman, or this goddess, the goddess Seshet. Remember that name, because she came back to the planet in the fall of 2006. The goddess Seshet, which this symbol on the top of her head represents the pineal gland. Represents the pineal gland. So it's a real power. We got some of these pictures. Make sure you get some of those particular pictures. It's real powerful. Y'all all right? Yeah. Okay then. Let's got a few things before we go into the magical aspect of this stuff. But we got a lot of good ritual, and I'm quite sure if you got something wrong with you, I know everybody needs some money. I got a little jealous. I said, dang, these pounds, 1 pound is worth $2. I said, 5 pounds is $10. Until I went to the store and found out that everything you got over here costs more and you need an extra $1. I said, oh man, I loved it. Until I walked out of the store for the first time and broke that pound. We had a 50 pound. Somebody gave us 50 pounds to fly over here. And we broke that 50 pounds and it was gone in 5 seconds. I said, oh no. And we didn't have nothing. We had some sandwiches. I'm like, man, what is this? You know, I could have bought a chair, a pair of pants, and some grapefruit juice with $100. It was gone. So you need that. They say you never get what you pay for. Now, nothing is it's too good to be true. It's probably not true. Now, or probably not good. So this is the goddess Seshet, the goddess of melanin. She is called she who is foremost in the house of books. Very powerful deity, but she's a goddess of the pineal gland. A goddess of the pineal gland. Now I want to show this again because I want to show this one again. I want to show this one again because we still have some of these particular pictures left. This is unique because you've seen King Tut before, but they make sure they never show this one in color, and they make sure they only show about every 10 years in books. There's about 5 different sarcophagus and masks that go with the King Tut. Now you might be able to go down to the King Tut exhibit and see this one, because I think they let everything out of Cairo but the mummy. You see, they let everything out of Cairo but the mummy. And I don't know what they did, but I'm going to tell you something. They had the King Tut exhibit that came through America in 1979. And every city that it traveled to, the cities got fucked up, got messed up behind it. And the only place that didn't go was Atlanta because Mayor Maynard Jackson stopped it because he had heard some things, and he was the guy, if you heard the radio show, he was the guy, he was the guy whose grandfather wrote this Dobbs ritual that the white Masons use to this day, this black man's book. If you heard the radio show, okay, all right, yeah, okay, all right, well, you got some more tape? Yeah, hold on. Yeah, just kind of push it up there a little bit, yeah. Yeah, okay, now, so, so this particular, now, so you might be able to see this particular one. What makes this one so unique is the Egyptian priests put the human eyes as exact replica of what King Tut's eyes were when he was living. In so many words, this actually look, it's a gold, it's amazing because it's a gold sarcophagus, but the eyes make it look like it's an actual gold human looking at you right now. It's astonishing. Now, I started drawing this particular, because I'm an artist, I drew this particular King Tut in 1990, and in the middle of staring at the eyes for a while, I went into trance. So it's a very powerful talisman for magic. And I do believe they left these things behind because they knew they could see the future. So they knew that the European was going to dig them up and put them on display. But they left these things behind so that we could have this window into the past to remind us of ourselves and to wake us up out of sleep. Now we know that they had these prophecies. They had the prophecies in the Hermetic text of us going into slavery 5,000 years before we went into slavery. You see, and they say that the rich man, they say that the wise man will be considered dumb and stupid. The stupid man will be considered wise. The weak man will be considered strong, and the strong man will be considered weak. They talk about it in the future. And they say, and this is what they say, this is astonishing. They say, although your body might look Egyptian or African, your mind would be of another race. Damn. How did they know that 5,000 years ago in the Hermetic text? They say your mind would be of another race. And this is Imhotep is reciting the god Tahuti. I should have had a picture of Tahuti, and which is her husband, Seshet. And reciting the god Tahuti, and Tahuti is telling him about this prophecy, how we're going to go into slavery, and all this thing that's getting ready to happen. They said Egypt, which is the most beloved of gods, will become one big graveyard that will be plundered over by archaeologists. And so Imhotep starts to cry and said, will we ever get out of this mess? And he said, yes. He said there will be a land towards the setting sun that a whole group of people will come to. And now I realize that's also Britain. Because if you look at the concept of what they call the West, then Europe is also called the Western tradition. So they said it will be a land in the West that's not established yet. Well, even Britain wouldn't be established 5,000 years ago. But definitely they're talking about America because they said it will be a new Egypt. Well, we know Washington, D.C. is that, and now Las Vegas. With the pyramid at the Luxor Hotel, that the light that shines out of the pyramid is the brightest light on earth. You see, that's not by accident. He said there will be a land at the setting sun, a land in the west, and they will have a group of Egyptians, it says, or Camites, that will come in that land with other, they said, but all races will be in this particular land. But there will be an appendage or an extension or an annex of Egyptians or Camite or Africans that will establish Mayat. But that's a multiplicity of things. There's a whole alchemical aspect of Mayat talking about your soul balancing itself out to the God level. You see, other than just the laws of Mayat. So they knew that it was going into slavery 5,000 years ago. But going back, we know that I believe that they took these particular pictures like this, and this is one of the most astonished ones because I saw it in the 80s, and I didn't see it again until recently. I had one of the books in the 80s till my brother stole it, and I had to wait a couple of years to get it back. You see what I'm saying? So they don't print this one, and never printed it in color. Imagine what that picture would do in color. Because it's astonishing in black and white. Y'all all right?
Yes.
All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. A few other things I want to deal with right quick. We're dealing with the magic. First of all, if you got a house, it's imperative that you get you some cats. This is the god Bass. This is that Necronomicon tarot I was telling you about. This is coming out of that tarot deck. This is the goddess Bass. And she's very powerful. And if you get yourself some cats in your house or around your house, apartment, at this particular time, all the magical things will start happening. They can even heal you.